Welcome everybody to the Wellness Lounge. My name is Gillian O'Gorman, and today I am joined by the beautiful Una McNerney, our mindfulness practitioner over the last few weeks. Una is up in Moycullen in her clinic Anois Therapies. You're very welcome, Una.
Thank you, Gillian. Thank you. Delighted to be here.
Una, now I refer to you as mindfulness practitioner, but I suppose the correct way to refer to you is you're a holistic practitioner, because you offer a lot more therapies than just mindfulness. But you know, for the purposes of the Wellness Lounge, that was the offering that you shared with and continue to share with us over the last few weeks. So tell me a little bit about what you've trained in and what kind of work you do in Anois Therapies.
Okay, so I guess my main work is energy work. So that would cover, so I'm trained as a bioenergy therapist. I'm also a Reiki teacher, and I do positive energy tapping. I do Acunect. I do, oh gosh.
Turn around there, because we can see your wall of fame here. Like, so there's a lot. So basically it's a whole variety of different support therapies, and as you said, I suppose the main area that is energy, you know, and actually people with their energy. So what kind of, when people come to your clinic, what are they presenting with usually? What do you support people around?
Well, so it could be pain, physical pain. You know, a lot of the times, and I think it's that the greatest thing to do is to be present with somebody when they come in the door, because it is that time of just sitting with them, even for maybe 10, 15 minutes before anything. And that's when everything for me gets unleashed. Because it really gives people an opportunity to open up. You know, when you just sit and be present with them, because sometimes all people need to do is speak.
Yes.
Speak about what's going on for them, because they have nobody to listen to them. And in that, then, you know, we decide what treatment might be the most beneficial for them. I mean, I would do an awful lot of bioenergy work, but I would, you know, I would combine things as well, you know, to suit the particular client that's in front of me. But I think the most important thing is kind of almost listening to what they're not saying. You know, so they, you know, somebody could come in with excruciating, and when you delve in more, there's so much maybe grief, or there's, you know, there's something underlying there. And it's that ability to be able to just, you know, talk to them and to let them unburden it almost.
So you'd, I suppose you'd often find that people are coming with a physical pain, but the trigger is something like an emotional pain that is showing up physically. And I love that there you're talking about actually sitting with them and listening for what they're not saying, you know, and, you know, even in coaching, that's something that we do, that active listening, and, you know, that through the body language as well, and watching people's reactions. So would you often find that people come to you and they don't know what they're looking for, and then you decide the therapy?
Absolutely. Or they may come with the idea of maybe having a massage. And at the end of it, they're having bioenergy or different treatments, because just with our conversation, I would, you know, say, well, do you think maybe that I could try this? And people are so open. They, you know, all they want is a bit of guidance.
Yes.
And, you know, as long as they have that bit of trust with you, I think that's very important, to be able to kind of have form trust between the two of you at the beginning of the session. And yeah, so it could, yeah, they may come in for one thing or book in for one thing, and it may be or a combination of things.
Yeah. And you know, with the different things, so you're saying bioenergy, there's Reiki, there's massage, there is the Acunect, which we'll talk a little bit about, because for me that was something that was new. I hadn't heard of that until you told me that you qualified in this new therapy as well. And now it's funny enough, I'm seeing it everywhere now. So it must be a kind of a popular therapy. But I guess, you know, with your intention is just help people feel better emotionally, physically, mentally. So
absolutely, mind, body, yeah.
And I guess maybe explain to people what you mean by energy work and what stuck energy actually is.
Yeah, so I suppose, you know, when everything is, when we feel good in our bodies and everything is going good in our lives, and you know, our energy is flowing quite freely through our body. And then there's times when it happens, different things happen to us, and stress comes in some form in the body. And that's when, you know, our energy can get blocked. And, you know, it's funny because I'm writing something about, you know, how I got into this work. And, you know, people come, you know, even with energy work, and, you know, I might be feeling something, I might feel something at their ankle, and, you know, and I might just mention it to them, and, you know, they could have broken their ankle 2-3 years previous. But there's still something, even though the ankle has, you know, on a physical level has knitted back, everything's fixed, but there is something stuck. There's like emotion or some stuck energy there that has needed to be released as well. And it's fascinating. It's, you know, I mean, that's why I love the work so much, because it just opens your mind to a whole new universe almost.
It really, I think when we get into that kind of whole area of energy and really accepting that, you know, emotional energy can actually be stuck in our body and preventing us from, you know, moving past pain or living the lives that we really truly want to. And sometimes actually feeling something lift, you know, anytime I've got energy work, especially Reiki, you know, feeling something it's absolutely fantastic. But sometimes it's just actually feeling tired after an energy treatment as well, isn't it? And kind of just going home and relaxing, and then the next day feeling slightly like there's been a shift as such.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what I say is that if somebody comes in and even just takes that time for themselves to just relax for 45 minutes to an hour, I mean, definitely before the lockdown, who was doing that? Not many, you know, would take that time. We were just go, 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 go. And, you know, eventually something gives. We need to, you know, be able to pace ourselves in some way. So for me, that's a healing in itself, just for them to, and then I love it when I hear the tummy rumbling, and, you know, I just know then that, yeah, they're relaxed. Energy's shifting there. Yeah.
So for anyone out there that hasn't received an energy treatment, one of the first kind of impacts that I felt, it's quite a common one, is that kind of rumbling in the tummy area. And some people really have a fear around, you know, touch therapy, but not all energy therapy is touch therapy, is it? So explain a little bit about the different types of ways of doing it, so people have an understanding.
Yeah. So, I mean, well, for Reiki, for instance, can be very much hands-off. You know, you can be holding your hands over the body. And, I mean, that's often people find that more intense. You know, notice things more strongly, even though there's absolutely no touch involved, it's hands over. And, you know, when you think about it, I mean, I do distant healing with people. I do distant healing to people the other side of the world. So, you think of it like that, once they lie down in that space and they begin to notice and they begin to feel different things shifting while I'm working, you know, thousands of miles away. And I've had it myself. I've had distant treatment, and just like that there was somebody physically there working with me. So energy is energy. You know,
Absolutely,
it has its own consciousness.
Absolutely. And so I suppose for people who don't know much about it, that's something that you talk about in your consultation as well. So you'll actually describe what it is. And I think it's just, again, that trust, isn't it? Trusting you as the therapist, and trusting that you're, you know, as the client, you're exactly where you're meant to be. And Una, I always say you have this like angelic presence, you know, so it's and I've been to your clinic, and it's a beautiful room as well. So and you know, the angels is something that you love as well. So I think you're one of our earth angels, so you make people feel very, very safe when you do look after people. So tell us a little bit about then the Acunect. How is this different to something like bioenergy or Reiki, and what is Acunect?
Yeah, so I mean, Acunect to me covers probably absolutely everything that I've trained in. So it just is like covers the whole thing in one nutshell. And it's, you know, with the Acunect, as we all know, like we all have our individual, how would you say, I suppose our pasts. So my past would be very different to your past, Gillian. So it's not like our biography of life that we all live in. So again, my beliefs about the world would be very different to your beliefs about the world, depending on, you know, we grow up in our lives and things. So everybody has their individual biography. You know, we're going around with, you know, memories of everything that's happened in our lives. And with Acunect, it's really going in and just going in, checking a body map. Basically, it is a body map that we're doing, and we use muscle testing because we're going into the subconscious. So I muscle test and just check what's ready to shift for that person at that time. What's ready to shift in their energy. So it could be something in their organs, it could be a belief system, it could go, I mean, it could be in the chakras, it could be in the endocrines, it could be in our immune system. So there's so many different things across our body map. So I'll go into each of them individually, check what's ready to shift. And then what we do is we do energy tapping.
Okay.
So very light tapping over the head and over the heart area. So again, over the head to imprint a new, maybe belief or a new acceptance of your body could work in a better way. And over the heart, because again, this is where all our meridians connect up in our energy body. And it's amazing the shifts that come, you know, just going through it. And we all know that, you know, I mean, I know personally as well, there's some things in our lives that we're still not ready to shift. You know, we'll be holding on to things. There's some things that we're ready to let go of. And it could be many, many years down the line before we're ready to shift on some things in our life. So the body will only allow us to shift whatever it's ready to shift.
Yeah. And sometimes we're not even aware sometimes of the things as well. So sometimes it really is, you know, it's back there in the subconscious, but we don't have an awareness of an event or of how we process something as well, or the belief that we kind of developed around that. So so people actually can feel that release, and then you as the therapist, you can actually feel that as well when you're actually doing that tapping.
Yeah, well, it depends. I mean, I feel a certain amount, but and you know what? Some people come in and no more than any work feel nothing.
Yeah,
you know, like there could be Reiki, it could be anything, and that doesn't mean, you know, we all know that doesn't mean that nothing's happening, because there's something shifting all the time. But I think, especially before lockdown, it was more working with children, and obviously one of the parents would be in the room with me. But what I love about that is, what I really would was for the parents to have the academic session first and then the children, because the children are only carrying something that parents have, or, you know, it's been passed on.
Of course, yeah.
So it leads to, you know, and I love it when, you know, I've worked with this particular girl and mom, and this belief comes up for the girl. Now the mom comes as well for the treatments, but like the mom has an actual physical, you know, when something actually, I think she has a physical, like almost like burning, you know. So if something is coming up for her energetically, she's, you know, this burping starts until it's shifted. And, you know, it's gas when I'm working on her daughter, and mom will be sitting there, and so a belief might come up, and the next minute mom will be,
wow,
you know,
okay.
Right.
So actually having a physical reaction, like with the burping. Wow, okay, yeah.
And that's when you know that, you know, and you realize that belief is so deeply ingrained and has gone back generations and generations.
That's why I always say to parents who, you know, even come to me as coaching, or people I know that are in this kind of area, the biggest gift that you can give to your children is to work on yourself. You know, it really, really is. Now there's many gifts you can give to your kids, but you know, we're not always aware of our limiting beliefs or our kind of wiring of our brain, and then you do wonder, well, how does that show up in our children's lives? So I think the gifts you can give yourself, but also the magical influence it can have, preventing kids going through what sometimes we've gone through as well, you know?
Yeah. And, you know, stopping things moving forward in the, you know, from generation to generation, because that's what happens, is that we've carried so much from past generations. And, you know, then really, I always think there's somebody in the family that needs to shift it for moving on, you know. So I always, you know, like we all know that the courses we do, they're not cheap, they're quite expensive, but it's the best investment that I have ever done for myself. And knowing that, you know, I know that there is for my kids as well.
Yeah,
And
absolutely. And other people's kids and other people as well. The knock-on effect is just amazing.
Absolutely,
so tell us a little bit about what inspired you to get into the area of holistic therapies.
Okay, so it's kind of a strange story.
Okay, we like strange stories.
I never had any treatments. I've never had anything. Actually, I thought it was a bit, really, to be honest, anybody that I knew that was into that kind of work, it wasn't me. That was all I could say. And this was like in my late mid-30s, and I remember actually being up with my mum, sitting with her, and you know, we lived near the sea, and I was looking out at the sea, thinking, there's more to life than this. You know, there's more to life. And I honestly, it was like I was asking the universe if there's something more I'm meant to be doing. I was working in a medical factory at the time, and you know, I just started clicking through the Galway Advertiser.
Yeah.
And I remember, and this little advert came up for Reiki level 1.
Okay.
And I was like, well, that sounds interesting. I had no idea what it was, but I was drawn to it. And it wasn't even explaining what it was, but I was like, oh, I think I'll ring this number and see. So that's what I did, and it was the following weekend. And I remember my sister was very good for me when my kids were small. She used to take my 2 kittens, and my husband was working, and was set off for the day. I might have said to my sister where I was going. I don't, you know, I just said I was going to Galway or something. I didn't specify, and definitely hadn't told my husband. And I remember pulling up outside the house where this Reiki was supposed to, and in the fear of God following me, I was like, oh God, what am I doing? Like, I don't even know who's in this house. It could be like 6 mad men, and I might never be seen again, and I have 2 kids, and my mind was going. And so I rang my husband anyway and told him where I was, told him the address, and said, like, if he hadn't heard from me in the next 5 minutes, maybe he could come and find me. So I was still nervous as I walked up to that door. This fear was in this, like, intense. And this lovely lady opened the door, really smiley, and I just kind of relaxed. It was like, oh, God. And so invited me in, and then she said, well, you know, there was 2 more supposed to come to do it. She said, but they've cancelled. So again, this kind of relief, because I'm like, oh, great. I can go home. It's not happening.
Yeah.
But no, she was like, we'll get started. And I'm like, okay.
It's just you and the teacher?
It was me and the teacher.
Wow.
And what happened that day was, I mean, you know me, Gillian, I'm a very emotional person. I do cry very easily. I'm very soft. But that day in self-healing, it was like, it was just like there was convulsions of tears, let's put it that way. And this lady sitting in the corner going, now I know why they have 2 cancer. So that was my first experience of Reiki, and to be honest, it kind of scared me a bit. It wasn't something, because I didn't know anything about it, and I didn't know what this huge emotional loop was coming up, and so it was many, many years after I experienced, before I went on to do the next thing that I went, the next training.
Yeah, and that's what I really admire about you, because you do have a passion for this work, and you do have a passion for, supporting, other people. So you kind of like have a hunger to learn. And just going back to something you said there a while ago, when somebody comes to you, that you now have the ability to bring little bits of different therapies in to really meet your client at where they're at. So a little bit of Acunet, or a little bit of Reiki, or a Louise Hay affirmation, or something else. And I think that's pretty powerful, because in that then this Anish therapy is very unique, because it's almost like for want of a better comparison, like the dessert trolley that used to be in hotels years ago, like a little bit of this and a little bit of this, and it's all good for you, it all feels good, so so it started with Reiki, and for a lot of people it does start with Reiki, and again, so people understand that Reiki is the channeling of energy and removing blocks again, and they could be the emotional, I suppose, stuck kind of pain, or whole level. I mean, I trained in Reiki 1 and Reiki 2 as well, but I don't practice it. I trained in reflexology as well. I don't practice it. But I love receiving these because of the feeling, that kind of balancing, isn't it? It kind of gives you that kind of balance again, like a recalibration.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, so that's how you started. And when was that then? Was that back in?
That was 2005.
2005, so 15 years of learning and upskilling. And when did you feel ready to actually make this like your full-time? Now I know you have 2 kids, and you do a lot obviously at home as well, but when did you actually say, okay, I'm going to develop a brand, I'm going to develop a business, and this is what I want to do?
Oh gosh, that was probably... Or
did that happen over a period of years? It just developed?
Oh yeah, I mean, I suppose I used, my work, the money. I was always putting aside for the next course. That's how my work life was going. I can do this work as long as I know that I can still educate myself. So, I mean, I had done many courses before I finally decided to bite the bullet and just try it out for myself. And it's not easy. It's not easy making that, you have all these fears of what if. But it's the best thing that I've ever done at the same time, because I don't look at it as work. It's just been great. Like it's great to be able to do things. Yeah. So and if you get one bit of feedback, that's what I always say, even when I work with the kids. If one kid in that group has taken something from it, I mean, that's just fabulous. You'd hope that maybe more than one, but even if one child has got some knowledge from that, then, I always say my work is done.
So before we go into the mindfulness, because I do know that you've done lots of work in schools and working with kids, and again, you work with adults, and the benefit when people bring mindfulness into the family unit. What advice would you have for people out there that now 2 to 3 months in and are thinking, oh my God, my job in my company is not for me. I really want to do my passion, which is kind of what you did. What advice would you give for people? Would you just say, do it? Or what would you say?
Well,
what have you learned about that time?
Oh, look, for me, again, it was huge, because it depends what your values are again.
Yeah.
If you can, some people, it's very easy for me to say, do it, if financially you're not in a situation where you can do it. I was very lucky. My husband was working, so there was a steady income coming in all the time, because especially in the start, you can't say there's a steady income coming in for quite a while, you know. So, but in that, I had the time with my kids as well. You know, they were at an age where it was lovely to be at home with them, because I was working evening shifts as well. So,
Okay.
you know, it was very hard, because, you know, you just didn't, I'd see them in the morning and that was it. They'd be in bed by the time I came home, and that to me isn't life, you know. I wanted to spend as much time with my kids as I could. And obviously every parent does, you know, so it's just that I guess we made choices, so we had to cut back on things. I mean, you know, and that's, but so far so good.
Yeah, I think that's lovely, because, you know, if family is a value and then you're not seeing your kids as much, then that's going to cause pain. It's going to cause
of course. Yeah,
stress as well. Yeah. So I would always say that to people as well. I'd say, you know, get very clear on what you do want, and then start navigating a path to that. And, you know, we would benefit a lot by living to our values. We're happier people when we're living to our values and our passion. And the ideal is turning our careers into our passion, because then it never feels like work.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I think, you know, us as a team on the Wellness Lounge, we're quite grateful and quite lucky, because we can positively influence and support people. And I think it helps us transform our own pain and trauma, you know, from the past, when we know that, well, look, we've learned and now we want to teach, you know. And I think that a lot of what this work is about is not about having these long relationships with our clients, but it's about helping them move through the stress, move through the pain, and, you know, empower them to, you know, do this for themselves and support themselves as well. So I think a lot of people in this time are probably reflecting on what's working for me and what's not. I think that's really, really important, what you said about values. It's really right. What is your values? And, you know, I remember Denise saying to me, Denise is on the lounge as well, saying to me a few months ago, what's negotiable and what's not negotiable this year, when I was looking at my plans, you know. So prioritizing what's negotiable, you know, what can you maybe do less of, but what's like a non-negotiable, you know.
Yeah.
And for me this year is all about saving, so that's like a non-negotiable, you know. So therefore then that money piece does influence other things, and it does actually change how you do things. But once you become clear on your goal and have that focus, it becomes easier to know. So you did that, and you came up with the name. Will I tell people what I thought your name was at the beginning?
Yeah.
So Una and I met in 2016, first of all at the 2-day workshop with Eileen Clare. So that was coming up to Paddy's Day. I remember that. It was March, because I was flying out. We met then on the Saturday and Sunday, the 2-day, and on the Monday I was flying out to my sister in the Middle East. And I remember meeting you. I think there was like 5 or 6 of us that weekend, and it was so lovely. You knew about the teacher training. You knew about it, and you had a plan to do it. I didn't know anything about the teacher training, but I think you were asking questions to Eileen, and I was like, "What's this?" And then I was talking to Eileen. And I think I remember messaging you, because I think we all shared our numbers, and you said, "Yeah, you're doing it." And so we arrived down. I think we started on a Saturday, did we?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
And in May, it was beautiful. Like starting school again, isn't it? You're in every with, like, I think there was 18 of us. And anyway, obviously we said hello to each other, but we're getting straight into the work, you know. And it would be unfair to say that we knew each other, because we didn't know each other. We just met that weekend. And when you're doing these courses, you know, there's little bits of moments when you're chatting like over a coffee, but then you're doing the work and you're listening and you're writing. And as you said a while ago, you're crying. But I think it was on the Monday, so down in the Armada Hotel, that we really kind of bonded, because again, I think the exercise was around forgiveness. Was it? Was it forgiveness with the pillows? No, anger. Anger. Oh my.
Yeah, it was releasing our anger. Yeah.
So I'll just give everyone a visual. We're in this big function room in the Armada Hotel, the wedding room, and we have to pair up with people. So it was myself and Una, and we're kind of talked through this exercise where you make statements like, I am angry at, I am guilty, all these, and you write them down, and then you pair up with a partner, and your partner holds a pillow, and you're basically, again, it's about releasing that energy. It's about actually the physical bashing the pillow, and releasing, because what are we taught to do as well? We're taught to take a deep breath and suppress things. You know, it's wrong for us to express ourselves. Anger is seen as the wrong thing to do. So this was our opportunity now to get things going. So I think you went first of all, Una, and, you know, as you said, like, you are in touch with your emotions, and you knew exactly what you were angry about and guilty of and all that. And you were like, I was nearly knocked over, like you were bashing into that pillow. And Eileen was walking around and supporting people, you know, let it go. And for me, I'd never really done this work before. So like what you were saying, when you were looking at the doing kind of therapies at the beginning, you know, thinking, is this a bit weird? Is this a bit cracked? I was like, I'm in a room with people all bashing pillows. Oh my God, is this a bit cracked? What am I doing, you know? So it came to me anyway, and I looked at you with terror. Like you probably saw like the eyes of a 4-year-old girl kind of going, what do? I don't know what to do. And you were like, just hit the pillow. And I'm like, but what do I say? And I felt so, now I know, like unaware and blocked. And we kind of got giddy over it because people were just releasing pain from years, and they were so in tune. You know, the first time I did personal development was only a few months before. This was all new to me, and we started to get, so you were like, just say anything, like, so I'm here bashing. I just felt, oh, because I'm a perfectionist and I wanted to get it right, and I wanted to find that trauma, because like what you were saying, these courses cost money and I want to get it out. Everybody else is getting it out, and I think we just got into a fit of giggles. It was just like, oh God. But, you know, in my head, I was hard on myself, you know, I was, but we bonded, and you were so supportive and so kind to me. You're like, don't worry about it. But I went up to the teacher afterwards and I was like, I think there's something seriously wrong with me, because my trauma is so deep and so hidden, and I'm so damaged that I don't even know what it is. And she just kind of smiled, and she's like, maybe that's a good thing. Maybe it actually, you don't have a huge, you know, trauma. And that's 4 years ago, you know, and I'm still kind of peeling back the layers. I think I was saying that to you recently, that I'm still, through consistently, you know, working on myself and finding out those beliefs and finding out what I experienced as a trauma. And, you know, like what you said beautifully at the beginning, our lives are different. Everybody's lives are different. So, you know, we have different ways of processing and seeing things and holding on to things and forming beliefs. But yeah, so then I think we went up to Super Value that evening, and I think you were driving. So I saw your car, and there was your lovely logo on your car. And I'm thinking, wow, like, she's a real businesswoman. She's got the logo. And I said, Anois Therapies. You looked at me and I was like, well, where'd you get the name like Anois? And you were like, Anish. Obviously not a Gail Gore here, you know. So Anish Therapies, where did you come up with that name?
Oh, you know what? I was just walking one day. I was just out going for a walk, and, you know, I suppose in the back of my mind I was trying to think of a name for what I would, and Anish came in, and I mean, I'm from Connemara and my Irish was not great. And I was like, is it Anish now or is it Anish? You know, so I actually had to go home, and then when I realized it was now, I was like, oh my God, that's exactly it. Now is where we need to be. Here in the present moment, not, and oh, I just, yeah, that's the name. Yeah. So it just came into my head.
Great, yeah, you're in the right place at the right time. It's now is the time. I love it. I love that. Anish Therapies. And do you remember that time up in the room in the teacher training? Do you remember me looking terrified?
I remember it distinctly. Yeah, it's like, yeah. There are some things that, yeah, totally do. But it was again, like you said, it was how we bonded.
Oh, definitely, yeah. And we became friends that week. And Denis OBrien was on that course, and Maureen Grogan was on that course as well. And it's funny, I got to know Maureen more after the course. And then same with Denise. It was more like the last day of the course is kind of when I got to know Denise. But you and I were kind of hanging out in each other's rooms or going up to the shop together, and it was such a special time. And you know, we did the work. We really showed up and we really supported each other as well. And you know, you said there recently that the book You Can Heal Your Life has had a massive impact, you know, on your own life. So tell me a little bit about when you came across that book.
Well, I mean, I don't know what year, but it was probably, I'm thinking before 2005. And I don't know how I came across it. I can't remember somebody suggesting it, or did I just go into a bookshop and pick it up? But it's just one of those books that I picked up and put down, and I remember being at it was actually a mindfulness course that I was doing, and the lady that was running the course, you know, at the week before we were to finish up, had asked us to do a what do you call it, you know, your future plan kind of.
Like a vision board.
A vision board, yeah. And what we would like to, you know, create in our vision board. And I had, oh my God, I put so much effort into this, and I found Louise Hay 2-day in one of the books, and I was like, I love what I would do to do this course, and I had on my vision board and all this. And, you know, we just spoke about it then on the last day, and she had asked us to do something for us, you know, to show ourselves how much we loved ourselves, really, to just do something for ourselves instead of everybody else. And that's when I booked in for the 2-day workshop, was that time after doing her course. And, you know, I mean, Gillian, you probably did realise then, I mean, I'm a very quiet person, and, you know, when I even spoke to Eileen Clare that day about teacher training, I mean, I was laughing and crying at the same time. I was like, it was so laughable to me to say teacher training, because I couldn't put two words together. The thought of
I remember that you had fear about actually, yeah, I do now remember that, yeah.
I could never speak out in front of people. So I was like, you know, this is a huge investment for something that I might never do, but yet in every cell in my body was like, you have to do this and you have to do this. And as well, a couple of months previous, I was doing a course to try and get a website together. So we had to do this course, which again, you know how I'm not very accessible with computers and stuff like that.
That's changed now. You've learned a lot in the last few weeks. That's changed.
I definitely was thrown in the deep end there. But at the time, it wasn't, and still isn't, my main passion, I suppose. But at the end of the course, they wanted us to do an elevator pitch to sell ourselves, sell our business. Like, I think it was 1 minute, 2 minutes max. I was physically sick for the week thinking of this, talking in front. And these were only a group of my classmates, but they wanted to record it as a part of the exam. So when I went in that day, I mean, I was going to actually stop the course, and then I was like, you know, you have to do this, like, you know, you have to kind of, I felt, show my kids that it's important to work through things that you know. And I just asked the teacher, can I be the first up? Because if I'm not the first up, I won't be able to. Can I just be up there and get it done, and so I can come back and puke up? So she's like, yeah, absolutely. And everybody with me. So anyway, I went up, done my spiel, an absolute nervous wreck, shaking from my head to my toes, and done it, came back, sat down in my chair, and absolutely burst out crying because I was anxious and worried and everything. And then going back to our training, I remember when Eileen told us we had to do a 45-minute presentation on one of our... so I had picked the inner child, and you were in the group actually. We were grouped together in our group. There was me, you, and Denise, I think, and somebody else.
Right,
And that 45 minutes, I was excited about doing it. I mean, that so much had changed in just those few days of Heal Your Life. I was like, oh my God, I can do this. I can speak to people, and
That's right. Yeah, yeah. We
And
were
that
all
shifted.
given, I suppose, for people to understand, we were all given a section of the 2 days. So the whole
Yeah.
idea of our course was to learn how to deliver the 2-day workshop. That's kind of it. And you can deliver the 2-day workshop over 2 days or in a 10-week evening course. So we were asked to choose a part of the workshop that we wanted to deliver in little groups.
Yeah.
I remember, so you did inner child and I did affirmations. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes, that's
Yeah,
right. Yeah.
yeah. And I remember that room. It was so sunny and beautiful. Yeah, yeah. And you did great in that short
I
time.
mean, yeah, absolutely. So that was the shift that happened for me at Louise at our training, to be able to speak. And I realized that there's a lot of people that are like me, that are nervous of being heard, and I'm just, I think that's what I'll always say about Louise Hay. It done so much, that workshop done so much for me from when I walked in to when I walked out. I mean, I wouldn't be able to run the courses I run now at home. I wouldn't have been able to teach Reiki. I wouldn't have been able to even speak with kids if I hadn't done that.
So it
Because
really was the
obviously,
catalyst to you becoming, a teacher, I guess.
absolutely, yeah. And it is, and so I bring her work in everything that I do. If I'm working with children, Louise Hay is there. It's like she's sitting on my shoulder all the time. In every aspect I do, it's like sharing her work in some way.
Wow. So tell us a little bit about the work that you do with children.
Yeah, so at the moment, well, just before the lockdown, I was kind of trying to promote more the Accumate because, like I said, it's the last of the trainings that I had done. But I wanted it more in the family unit. I wanted, like, it's all very well treating a child, and then everything is okay, and then the child goes back to that whole thing again. And it's not that there's anything in the family, it's just that beliefs are there and that people are so unaware of. And so the idea of maybe having a mom and a daughter together and trying to work with both of them, or and just see what can shift in the whole family unit, so I would do a session of Accumate. I would also teach them. So I had been doing the chakras, I had ran a couple of courses for people if they wanted to learn a little bit about the basis of the chakras. So we would have like 7-week course on the individual chakras.
So again, people might recognize that poster and of the chakras, and that's all kind of, now correct me if I'm wrong, because I haven't trained, like your energy areas. It's like your energy centers.
It's the 7 energy centers in our body. And
that hold different kind of emotions and such, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. So, and in the knowledge of them, then realizing what's out for me and what can I do to, to work on this. So when I was doing it with this group of adults, they were saying, oh my God, wouldn't it be great if children learn this? Which is, of course, I always think, imagine children, because children are so open. They're just so open to learning new things, and they get it, like they just get it. It's not, whereas as adults we have so much programming here that that it's like that we don't.
There's fear, there's resistance, there's questioning.
Absolutely. Questioning everything.
Yeah. I'm like that. Any therapist will say to me, stop over analyzing it, just allow it to happen. It's like, I need to, yeah. It's funny, yeah. But children are more open, as you said, like sponges.
Sponges, yeah. So then I decided, you know what, I'm going to develop one for kids and just have it in, basic of the chakras and different exercises they can do. And for kids to be more aware of their energy centers and how different things affect their energy centers. And so I did run that. Now, it wasn't the most popular course because, again, it's up to the parents to send, obviously, their kids to the course.
Sure, yeah.
A lot of parents are like, well, that's too really kind of. So, but the kids that did come, again, they had been with me in the mindfulness class. The parents knew me, they knew what I was about. And I explained, didn't I? I showed them exactly what I was doing with the kids. So I wanted them to know exactly what I was doing with the children. So I kind of, when the kids come here with their mom or whoever it is, it's normally the mom. So I explain to both of them. And I go through, so every week we go through one of the energy centers and different exercises when we notice coming up. And then we do a bit of positive as well. So we have lovely affirmations that which happen to the body, and yeah. So
And you know, it's funny, Una. I was listening to a podcast yesterday. Sorry, the connection went funny there for a second. And it was Dr. Joe Dispenza, and he does a lot of work around, you know, beliefs and the mind and thinking, and the mind-body connection as well.
Absolutely.
And but he's saying what's been fantastic now is the science is backing up what they've been talking about for years. So even what you're bringing to kids there, and parents are thinking, is that a whole load of nonsense now, you know? It's actually, so I actually get excited when I think of kids actually learning about their own bodies and tuning into their own pain as well, you know? It's actually, and you know, now having tools to kind of go, oh, well, why don't I tell myself something different there with that affirmation? Or why don't I do a little bit of a body scan and, you know, visualize all that kind of releasing through, or even the grounding as well. So I do think that we as practitioners, as coaches, as therapists are going to see a shift. And we're starting to see it already. Definitely starting to see it already. But I think there's more to be done. There's more to be done in schools. There's more to be done in companies. And people, again, need to prioritize themselves, because I don't know about you, but I find there's so many people on a personal level that are resistant to giving themselves the time and investing the money as well. So they're living with that pain. So, you know, that's why I think there's a huge responsibilities with, you know, the Department of Education and corporates out there as well, to actually put aside money to invest in kids, to invest in employees, and help people to actually manage their own pain, their own wellness as well, and to learn tools to, you know, to do that. So I know you do go into schools and you have done courses as well. So mindfulness, people get confused around mindfulness. It's a broad term, so help clear that up. What is mindfulness?
Well, there are so many different ways to explain it, but the one that I always use is, it's like, you know, being present with, you know, the good things in our lives. You know,
mindfulness doesn't always mean meditation. People think, oh, a bit of mindfulness. Mindfulness is more about being present. That's what I try to say to people.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So it's being present in the moment.
In the moment,
sorry, just to make that, because people are often, oh, I'd like a bit of mindfulness, and I'm trying to say, well, how would you like to be more mindful? Do you know what I mean? And misunderstand. So mindfulness is about being present. Meditation is a form of doing mindfulness, but it's not.
Absolutely.
Mindfulness is more broad. So to tell us a little bit about being present and what that means.
So being present with the good things in our life. So, you know, when we're, you know, having like the past weekend, having a lovely barbecue, having even our drinks, our food, our enjoying the sun, enjoying even the games that we're playing outdoors and stuff like that, and just being there instead of, I suppose, you know, being maybe half there, either on our phones or something else, you know, just be more with what's happening, and again, this thing of not fearing that it's going to go away, you know, just being there, not thinking, oh God, well, this is going to end soon, or it's going to rain, or it's going to whatever. Just be present with what's happening right now without thinking it's going to end, because it will end, you know, but also being mindful of, you know, when we're going through bad things in our life, you know, stuff, that's also going to end. It's not going to be there forever.
Sure.
You know, I always say it's like the waves and the sea. You know, one minute we're up here and everything, we're surfing away, everything's fine. We're going to get dragged down. Things like this, what life does with things like that. We could be down here for a while, we could be making our way up, and we could be hit down again. This is life, you know, but just trying to be present. And I know it's very easy to be present with, you know, when things are going good. And obviously when things aren't so good, it's very difficult to actually be present with that. And this is what happens then, is we bury it deep down into the body, rather than actually being present with everything, with the pain, with whatever it is that's going on.
And I know that you've in the wellness lounge over the last few weeks as well, you've done different kind of suggestions, like, you know, crafts for kids, and obviously even the meditations a little bit. So it's really affording people to take time to actually just concentrate on those tasks as such.
Yeah.
And so what does that do for our body then when we are more mindful? What actually happens to us?
Really come out of it, because in the majority of the time, and I definitely know from my point of view that I probably would have always been in a form of stress response, unaware of it. Even sometimes when I'm washing the dishes, I have to be, I'm like thinking, oh my God, my shoulders are actually up in my, you know, they're up here. Why are they up here? I'm not aware that there's any stress there, but yet I'm aware that they're up here. And just be mindful. And the more that we check in with our body and notice, I mean, most people are walking around with their shoulders up there and aren't aware of it. That's the problem. At least when you're aware that your shoulders are up, that you can go, okay, you know what, I'm just going to just take some deep breaths in, just relax and just, because a lot of people, their automatically is to go into stress response. Like, you know, it could be a phone, it could be a bill coming in, or it could be anything that can just send the body into stress. And, you know, for us to be more mindful of how am I in my body, and I always say the check-ins are the most important thing that we can do. Even if we haven't got a load of time to sit and just, we don't need it. I say just check in with your body at different stages through the day and just notice. Even if you're stuck in traffic, before you would be stuck in traffic, you'd be thinking, oh God, come on, get more angry. Why not use that time to just come in and just go, okay, I'm here anyway, so I might as well just relax my body. But obviously, once, you know, we relax, everything settles in our body, we're more, you know, we're not sending stress hormones into our body. So that's the whole idea of mindfulness. It's just about taking simple things. I mean, the other day I was just out with my roses. That was one of the videos I put up. I'm just saying, like, every time I pass that rose bush, I'm just drawn to go and smell it, to look at it. So straight away you're bringing in all your senses, and you're becoming mindful of just that moment. And, you know, if I was to pass that rose bush 5 or 6 times, I would do that.
Yeah.
And
it's
it's
a
just simple ways to bring it in. You know, it doesn't have to be sit back in the chair and go, you know, it's just about being able to bring it into your everyday life, even enjoying that cup of coffee, to be present with that, not thinking about all the things I have to do as I'm drinking my cup of coffee. You know,
Exactly, because I often talk to people. I was actually coaching a man recently, and it's funny how when you're working with the person, no more than what you were saying about people coming in for the physical kind of therapies, even through coaching, this person wanted to really look at their diet, and over the 12-week period that we worked together, it really became evident that is such a great person and really wanted to show up in all the relationships in his life, work, for his partner, for his little daughter, but really wanted to be healthy as well. So he felt that the more he was doing new habits like walking and preparing meals, that he was spending less time with his family. And when we worked and we observed this, we realized that he was spending shorter amount of hours, but because his mind, very like my own mind, is always on to the next thing, always on to the next thing, that we really identified that he wasn't present in those moments. So you can actually be with your family and feel then guilt because, oh, I'm not spending as much, you know, what do they call it, like family time. I can't remember the expression now, it's just gone from my head. Quality, thank you. Quality time. And when we actually observed it, so the way with the coaching, I said, observe it for a week. He's like, oh my God, you're so right. Like, I'm washing the dishes and I'm thinking of something else. I'm, you know, at the dinner, I'm not fully engaged in the conversation. And I'm like, well, that's normal. There's actually statistics out there, high percentages. I can't remember, I don't want to quote it now, but I was doing a bit of research for him as well, where there's a large percentage of our time when we're actually not present. You know, we're operating from the mind, and I am definitely someone, you know, that does do that, half listening to conversations at times, because I'm thinking of the next thing and wanting to do too much. I have a lovely affirmation at the moment, Una, that I'm practicing over and over. I am enough, I do enough, I have enough. You know, and it just kind of stops
Lovely.
you.
Yeah.
You know, I am enough,
Yeah.
I do enough, I have enough. And having to remind myself that it's okay to just actually stop, you know. So I love the way that you've taught all of us around mindfulness, because I do think there's this perception out there that people feel that they have to sit with an empty mind for 20 minutes to do mindfulness, and mindfulness is something that you incorporate into your day. I know you participated in my gratitude challenge, and I know your roses featured in that as well, and as did a lot of people's gardens. It was beautiful. So it allowed people to go to their garden and actually be present in their garden, as opposed to on the phone or thinking about what they have to do for dinner. And it actually, you know, you're right, it actually slows everything down. And going back to Dr. Joe Dispenza, just with the gratitude, and I'm sure for mindfulness practices as well, it actually reduces the cortisol and it increases our IgA, our immunoglobulin, which actually is our immune system. So it actually protects us against disease and viruses and all that. So strengthening our immune system. So there's so much scientific evidence around mindfulness, around gratitude, around meditation, all these different things. But what I loved about what you've brought to the Wellness Lounge is you're making it accessible for people, so that people don't feel like it's something they have to do, as opposed to just stopping and just incorporating it, even just for a moment, and even just putting timers on your phone for check-ins. That's what I say to people. That's what I did at the beginning when I was trying to develop a habit. I put a timer on my phone, practice gratitude, say 3 things you're grateful for. Timer on your phone. Okay, check in with your mood. You know, is there anything you want to? Because we're conditioned. You know, it takes time to make these changes. So make it easy on yourself. So how do the kids respond to the mindfulness?
Well, it can be challenging sometimes. It depends what kind of, and you know, I suppose I used to do it straight after school as well. And in fairness, they've had a lot of sitting down at school, and a lot of them just want to go out and, you know, let rip for a little while. And you know, what was great was if the weather was fine. And some days, what we would do, and it, you know, it's so simple things like just going out. They have a lovely garden beside one of the schools, and we go out and we sit in the garden and you know, really noticing the grass, how it feels. And we used to go to the trees. So a group of us would go at the trees and just notice the barks, and the different designs on the barks. And we would just, like, it's amazing what kids see. I mean, kids are just amazing. And so it's amazing, like, what you can see in the tree if you want to. And they would see these different shapes and gosh, it was just, you know, even just touching the tree and then just seeing the different shapes, and they would say, "Oh, I see this in it. Do you see this in it?" And you know, it's just this banter that we would have. But we would be bringing in all our senses while we were there: our sense of smell, our sense of hearing, what we were hearing, and that's what it's all about. And for them to, I mean, that's things that they will do and they'll remember. You know, it's not like it's but they also need to move. So we often do, you know, let's get the energy released, and then we can sit down and we would just do. What I really loved about it is, obviously I would do meditations with them, and you know, I would ask the kids, would they do a meditation? And oh my God, when kids do meditations, they have brought me on absolute amazing meditations. And I just think, wow. Because they've got the imagination that I would never have to. Like, they would bring me up to the planets and hop from one planet to the next, and it was just like, oh my God.
Wow.
You know, they're just so just let it flow. Whereas I would be, I can't really bring it to the planet because I don't know enough about that planet. You know, my head's a bit
I know. Yeah.
Whereas kids will just bring you on these wondrous journeys.
They just feel it, don't they? They just feel it. They just go straight into the heart. Like, yeah, it's
absolutely. You know what? I just think they, you know, that is something they will carry with them throughout their lives. You know, there'll always be some bit that they will be able to put back on.
Yeah.
There'll be something that they'll have learned along the way, and
Absolutely, because these are their formative years as well. So, you know, when we talk to some of the people that we spoke to over the last few weeks around beliefs, they're saying as early as the age of 2 up to the age of 12, or up to I thought it was 5 to 7, but different people have different kind of search on it. But, you know, those formative years, I suppose those primary school years and before, where we form our beliefs. And as you know, because of your own work and helping other people, those beliefs show up for us every single day. They drive our behaviors, you know, which create our experiences. So I think as much as possible, parents out there offering this kind of work to kids, I just think it's fantastic. And I think what you do is absolutely fantastic, Una. So I just wanted to now, I suppose, thank you for all that you've done for the Wellness Lounge over the last, I counted it, it's 11 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah, 11 weeks, I think today. And it's been amazing what you've offered, but it was so important for me that people understood that you have a clinic up in Moycullen, that you have, as people can see, a wall of qualification, and that you put so much into your work, and people get so much from you when they go to you. So obviously that time in March, your clinic had to close as well, and that must have been a very sudden and difficult thing for you. So,
yeah. And I guess, like, I just very much one person or a group person, or but I like the idea of being with people, not being separated. So yeah, as most therapists are. So yeah, it's a big change, but it is what it is. We have to work with it, and yeah.
So do you have any ideas yet of when you'll be in a position to reopen? Or are you just kind of waiting for more clarity on that?
Yeah, no, I'm just waiting. Yeah, I'm just waiting patiently. I don't have fabulous internet where I am, so I can never guarantee. Like, you know, I've had a few people mention about Zoom, meditations like that, but there's nothing worse that if you've got a bad coverage to be in a meditation, and you know. So, but that's the beauty of living beside gorgeous trees.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. You'll take it. You'll take it. Yeah, absolutely. So Una, thank you so much. You're a very special and dear friend to me. I love working with you. And thank you for giving your time, but also thank you for pushing yourself out of your comfort zone, the Wellness Lounge as well. So for any of you out there, Una had a lot of fear about doing videos, and now she is a YouTube expert and a SoundCloud expert. So much so, apparently I'm the one who told Una how to do SoundCloud, but in the last few weeks I have been so busy and my mind so scattered. Talk about my energy. Actually, I might get you to send me some healing later, Una, I rang Una. No, I put a message into the Facebook group that we have, and I said, can anyone help me with the SoundCloud meditation? And Una said, you know, yeah, I'll give me a call later. So I ring Una, and you know, our energies are very different. You're very serene, you're very calm, you're quiet. I'm kind of more la 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 la. So I'm doing like, oh Una, I've been asked to do this meditation for darkness into light, and I had never recorded an interview, a meditation. And you just kind of stopped me and you said, love, you're the one who showed me how to do SoundCloud. I'd forgotten in my stress. So I think that was actually a sign for me to slow down, which I've started to do, which is great. And that's why I am enough, I have enough, I do enough is my daily mantra at the moment, because I'm always trying to do more, going on to the next. So much.
You've been so great for me, because I wouldn't have been able to, and so patient with me, because I was there sending you loads of stuff to upload for me because I had no idea how to do it. So thank you. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're very welcome. I know there was actually so much background work that needed to be done, and we're doing the best we can, and we're all meeting later on to look at our format again. So let's see what the next few weeks is going to look like. But thank you. You've been great. I love you very much, and have a great day, Una. And you are coming up next week, I believe, on the Wellness Lounge again, bringing more mindfulness. If people have any questions, post them below, or you can message Una as well. So we look forward to seeing more for you. Thanks very much, Una.
Thanks, Gillian. Thank you.